Hey everyone. Today I just wanted to share a tool that I've used for a few years. I'm going to start with an overview and then show you how it works. The tool is Getmarked, and the idea is that you can import and export between a lot of different learning management platforms, as well as some web apps like Kahoot, Google Forms, etc., and create quizzes that you want to give, let's say in Canvas, or you want to put on Kahoot. But you can create them really with a lot of tools that you're more comfortable or familiar with, or just feel like you can transfer easily. The reason I found this was because I often have a lot of quizzes, tests, or assessments that were written as a Word document. Just here's the question, multiple choice answers, etc., essay. And people wanted to convert that into a Canvas quiz or a Moodle quiz or a Blackboard quiz. And that takes a lot of copy and pasting. Here, most of the places where you are working on this, it's, paste the question, paste the title of the question, paste each of the different answers, select which one is correct. But that's where Getmarked kind of comes in. There are other tools out there, and I am sure even with learning or a large language model, you might be able to get some results. But this one's focused on really just providing the QTI file, or the file format you need to import it somewhere else. So this goes along really well with the other video that I recently did on how to import item banks into Canvas. And quite often when I have gotten item banks from a publisher, there might have been something slightly wrong. I was able to use this to clean up the QTI file before putting it in. So just I want to browse through their homepage. They do a really nice job of showing you, like, I can have things in a lot of different formats. I used to use tools that were very, very strict about you have to put the questions in this format with these titles, etc. This is a lot more flexible, so it's a lot easier to use without getting into specific syntax, etc. But you can use a Word document like this, and create multiple choice, short answer, essay, quizzes, questions, etc. Works with a lot of different learning management systems. I'm currently using it primarily with Canvas and Kahoot, as well as Google Forms. And as far as pricing goes, I did use it for free for a little while. I don't know what the limitations on the free account were. It might have been you get to do this a couple of times. And so after using it for a little while, I had thought about using the basic $29 a year. You get 50 pages. But I realized a lot of times when I'm going through and taking a quiz, that's a couple of pages every time there's a quiz with like 10 questions, just usually because of the layout. So I did go ahead with the personal plan. There was a $50 one-time fee, ends up being $40 a year. So for what it's worth, take a look and see if you like it. So here I'm going to jump over to the actual portal. And this is the file. This is an old quiz from a colleague of mine, just a basic multiple choice quiz. You'll see that they did a good job of numbering everything, putting an answer in there. When I had worked with this before, a lot of times I found like, I mistyped answer, or I put it in the wrong spot, or there was a space where there shouldn't have been. But this makes it really easy to work with. I really like the fact that you can simply drag and drop. And so I'm going to grab that file that I just had. I'm going to drag it over here, and you'll see like here I've got the file loaded up. I'll hit submit. Usually it tells me that it's going to take 5 minutes. It never has taken 5 minutes. Typically, by the time I come down here and look at it and refresh it, it gets pretty close to being done. So you can tell I have done a lot of quizzes, run them through here in order to clean them up or get them ready for importing. So I'm a really big fan of doing this. So you'll see here, this one is done. What I usually do after I have imported that is I go over and take a look at this because it shows me how many questions there were. Sometimes the numbering gets off in a file and that's fine, but this one had a total of 47 questions, but it did indicate that there's a missing answer. So I usually will scroll down, looking for, this is also, if it's my quiz, I'm trying to, just double check, like, do all these things look right? It is possible because it's not asking you to be really clear with the formatting. It is possible that sometimes a question doesn't show up the way that you want, or two questions somehow got merged together. So it's a good idea to always go through and look at this. I did actually not see the unanswered. Oh, there it is. What I also really like about this is a full-fledged, kind of question editor. I can go in and create questions, edit questions, work here. So if you're someone that works in a lot of different learning management systems, let's say you're adjuncting at multiple institutions, you could use something like Getmarked to just be the one place where you create your quizzes, or create them in a Word document, upload them, and store them. But the edit question, you can go through, you can change the type of question, all of those things. Once you're done with a quiz, there's a lot of cool things on the right-hand side that I often use. Like sometimes I will notice in this one, like I like to have the choice labels like A, B, C, etc. Notice it only works for doc files, so I'm going to hit OK. And this one put the original ones in there. If I wanted to do something different, I could say like, oh, maybe I like numerical ones, and change all the choice labels to be numeric. But since I had put the original ones back in, now I've got this weird thing going on, so probably don't recommend doing both of them. You can also set the title to the first 100 letters of the question. I like the titles to have the Q001, 002, etc. as it goes through. Other things down here, you can convert questions between the different types, etc. So usually when I'm done doing all of this, I'm like, all right, got 47 questions. I've refreshed it already so I can see that they're all answered. I'll usually click on the Getmarked to go back to my dashboard, and then you can export this. I spend a lot of time exporting it to Canvas. As I mentioned, I will sometimes export them to Kahoot or a couple of these other things. I don't have the institutional license to be able to do all of these, but what is really nice is I can also import from things like Google Forms. So if I have a quiz that I've created with Google Forms, I can hit the import button, make sure that I'm logged into my account, select the quiz, and go on. I can also do that if you give it an API access token. You can also do this for all the quizzes you actually have in Canvas. So you'll see I have tons of quizzes in Canvas that are all now here if I wanted to rearrange them or do something with them. But like I said, once you are done with one of these things, it's as simple as exporting it, picking Canvas. It gives me the zip file that has the QTI in it, so I could save that, and then you can look at one of the other videos on how do I import that. You can import that as the quiz directly, or you can import that into an item bank in order to create your quizzes later. So I'm not sponsored at all by Getmarked. I have interacted with their programmers once or twice just to make some suggestions. One thing that I would recommend that you do after you download that, right? So here's the files that just came down, and I showed this in the other one. I a lot of times will open this. I use a program called 7-Zip rather than just the built-in one in Windows. That way I can edit the file, and I think it's the one with the name on it. A lot of times I will go in here and change the title of whatever I'm doing, but what I'm really looking for is I usually do a quick search for shuffle. And the reason why I do that is sometimes I notice that render choice shuffle, it used to default to yes, which really causes problems if you are doing all of the above types of questions. So I used to do a replace all, like I would do, let's see, does this thing have it here? I would usually do this and say like, oh, wherever the response render choice shuffle equals no, I used to say, find all of these things that say yes and change them to no. Don't have to do it on this one, but I sometimes double check that because I have run into problems where I've uploaded a quiz and it turned out that, all of the above was at the very top spot. So that made no sense. But like I said, that's a really straightforward. If you do make those changes, you just have to save it, close it. You can do it right in the zip file and then take it over to whatever you're importing it into. Like I said, there is another video on Canvas for how to import quizzes. Importing from Google Forms is pretty straightforward. You just have to click on it, agree and sign in. You can do the same thing with a Word document, Google Doc. You can take things from Kahoot and move it over. You can use it with a lot of different tools. So really like it. I really think it saved me a lot of time. It might save you a lot of time. If you're someone that's just using it once or twice, I think you get a couple of free imports. Don't know what the size is. Otherwise, if you're doing less than 50 pages a year, it's $29. Or you can get a personal account in order to have kind of limited use on that. So hope you enjoy it. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.